The Johnny sing on and we're all going to Madrid. It's the Newcastle United last word, ladies and gentlemen, and it's the final last word. It's the last word. I'm going to keep the end of season review stuff for later in the week. I'm going to stick to what I've always done and do a last word. And I thought for this one, I'd crack open a lovely bottle of Maho, because do you know where this beer originates from? Madrid. And if you're anything like me, you've only had one song stuck in your head all week. We're all going to Madrid. Cheers. Oh, that tastes like Champions League football to me. There's still plenty to talk about from the Chelsea game. What happened at the end? What happened before going down the Thames on those lovely boats? Squad depth. Goals for Anthony Gordon. What to expect from him maybe next season. It's all coming up in the last word of the season. So do us a favour, Newcastle fans. Make sure you stick around. Going to Madrid. Sorry, I'm still singing it. Surely I can't be the only one whose day has looked a little bit like this. Just me? Fair enough. Welcome back to Black and White Banter anyway, you absolutely beautiful Newcastle fans. I hope you're having a lovely week. You're probably feeling a little bit sad like I am. Most amazing season. If you're anything like me, you get a little bit reflective and a little bit down at the end of the season. Not normally, not under the Bruce, not under most of Mike Ashley's tenure, but just generally speaking, football means so much to us as fans, and particularly in Newcastle as a city. And when that gets taken away on a weekend, you kind of feel like the life gets sucked away from the place a little bit, just for that little short spell in the summer. And because this season has probably been one of the greatest of my lifetime, and I'll talk lots more about the season in upcoming videos, player of the season, goal of the season, match of the season, Champions League upcoming, you name it, it's all coming. But I thought I would stick to a last word. But yeah, it's a little bit sad because this has been the roller coaster that not one of us has ever wanted to get off. And I've used that term all the way through my videos, and I'm going to stick to it because I don't think anything sums it up better. Not a roller coaster in terms of downs, just lots of climbs, like almost climbing the Big Dipper, and it just never stopping that climb. We still going to the top, like this is breaking roller coaster records. And it's been amazing, it's been wonderful, it's been emotional, and there's everything else that comes along with supporting this football club. I've had the pleasure of becoming really good friends with an amazing group of people and meeting people all the time through Black and White Banter, through people stopping me in the pub saying about my content on all other socials, my jokey content, my YouTube content, but also the lads and lasses that I've had the pleasure of travelling away this season with as well. I've been to 15 out of 19 Premier League away games, Cup away games, Cup semi-final away games, Benfica in the friendly, and it's been amazing. I've met so many amazing people that I'm lucky enough now to call me friends across this season. That's what's made it that extra bit special. So yeah, I thought I would dive in with a bottle of Madrid's finest, because that is where we might be going next season. But who cares where we go? As long as it's on a flight, as long as that Champions League music's getting boomed out, I'll be there with my passport ready, and there'll be plenty of these consumed along the way. I'm not going to lie to you, Newcastle fans. I maybe seemed like I was enjoying this at the start of the video, but I'm still a bit ropey from Chelsea on Sunday. So that's not going down as well as I'd maybe hoped. But I'll power through. So, amazing day down at London on Sunday, and plenty of things to talk about. But before I get into all that, do me a favour, Newcastle fans, whack that like button, whack the subscribe if you haven't already. Everything is booming. If you haven't already seen my written post on YouTube that I've put out on my other socials, I am overwhelmed to be able to say that I've been offered a content creation job for an online sports betting company because of Black and White Banter. My mind has been absolutely blown. It's my dream job. It sounds everything that I'd want on paper. I can't give too much information away because the brand is going to be new. But it just means the world to us. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, and that's all because of people who like, who share, who follow. And YouTube's not my biggest. Obviously, Facebook and whatnot etc., etc. All the other ones are, in terms of me jokey content, me emotional videos I put together. I can't share any of that on YouTube because copyright is just ridiculous. And I feel like some people who only follow me on YouTube might like some of my content, but hey ho. Whack that like, whack that subscribe. Please do that now. So as I said, Chelsea, Sunday, if you haven't already watched my match vlog, it was the best match vlog I've ever wanted and enjoyed putting together. I loved it. I loved watching it back. The boats down the Thames with 1,600 Geordies, the pub after the boats, the atmosphere in Stamford Bridge, the atmosphere at the end. It was a party. We didn't need anything from the game. Champions League was already in the bag and it lived up to expectation. Just a final, let's get as many beers drunk as possible and toast Eddie Howe's Champions League mags. And it lived up to that. And it was absolutely amazing. I mean, how many football teams can go down to London on a Sunday with nothing to play for and put 1,600 fans on boats going up and down? I'm sure there'll be people saying other teams have done that, and yeah, fair enough. But I meet other football fans and other football groups. I just think there's something about Newcastle that just makes us a little bit unique as a fan base. I don't know. And that's me going and meeting fan bases from Newcastle supporters in Miami, Vegas, New York, all over the world. I just think we're an amazing bunch, and it just had that celebration feel all day, literally all day. So please check out that match vlog if you haven't already. Now, the first big talking point from Sunday, in a game that was pretty poor. I don't think anyone was really watching the game too much in the stands. Yes, we obviously went mental when Anthony Gordon scored. That was great. But generally speaking, we were all just there for the party, I think. And it would have been nice to win, of course it would. But I don't think anyone cared that much. I didn't get those feelings in the stands. I really, really didn't. And obviously a lot of people had been drinking, as I had, from very early in the morning. But Anthony Gordon came in, and I think if there was one player in that Newcastle team when I saw the starting lineup that I could have wished to end on a high, it would be him. He came in for a big price tag in January. A lot of us surprised by the price tag, but that's the Premier League and that's the transfer market at the moment. And he hasn't really done very much since he's come in, and he would probably admit that. He would probably admit his frustration at that. So to see him get his first goal and celebrate the way he did, he even kissed the badge during the game. His interview after it, he was absolutely over the moon. He's now got a huge pre-season ahead of him to really push on and really embed himself in what Eddie Howe wants to do and what Eddie Howe wants to get out of him, because he's a raw talent. Eddie Howe didn't expect him to come and be the finished article, and I think any smart enough Newcastle fan didn't expect him to be. He was fighting relegation battles at Everton, and he was thrown in from the academy there with no bedding in process like academy products get. And he was thrown in. He did a good job for them, and you can tell there's a player in there. He's got the bite, he's got the fire in his belly. He likes to run at his man, he's pacey. He just needs fine-tuning in quite a lot of areas, as any player does at that age. And it was amazing to see him finish strong. So I'm going to be interested, very, very eagerly interested during the summer and going into the first games of next season to see how Anthony Gordon progresses, how he looks in pre-season, how his game changes under Eddie Howe. Because if there's one man you would have full faith to turn into a right player, it's Eddie Howe. I mean, look what he's done for Joe Linton. Look what he's done for Jacob Murphy. Look what he's done for Fabian Schär. Look what the list goes on. It's crazy. So yeah, so that was a really, really big positive to come from Sunday on a day when most of my points are going to be about Sunday, even though it did feel like a day that didn't mean very much. There was still a football match, and there's still things to talk about in the aftermath of that football match. Now, one thing Newcastle's starting lineup really highlighted to me going into this transfer window has to be our lack of depth in midfield. Now, I didn't really want to see Bruno playing because he's carried these injuries. He's done his interview last week where he's talked about the injuries he's carried with his ankle just after the cup final, before the cup final when he hurt himself against Fulham when we beat them 1-0 at St James's. And because we have such little depth in that central midfield area, particularly sitting midfield, holding midfield, he was forced to play on Sunday, and that has to be a priority in this transfer market coming up, this huge, exciting, mouth-watering transfer window that we potentially have at our disposal coming up. And I think it is. I'd be shocked if it wasn't one of the first priorities. I really, really would. They've probably already got the targets. They're already looking at central midfield targets. John Joe Shelvey leaving in January, so late in the window. We knew Eddie Howe didn't want him to. but he allowed him to. He was going on to more money, a bigger contract. The less said about how that's worked out for John Joe, the better. But that was always going to leave us short. And sure, behold, we've just about scraped through this season by the skin of our teeth. We've talked on so many videos about the importance of Sean Longstaff when he came out with his injury. Willock isn't really that sort of player when you play him centrally. He still wants to get forward and spend most of his time attacking. We've just about scraped through, because after that you're looking at, yes, Joe Linton's obviously been ever present for us this season, but you're looking at like the Elliot Andersons, who's still very, very raw. We just don't have many options there, and we've just got through, which has been amazing. But it's just highlighted to me that has to be a serious area to strengthen. I don't think Bruno would have wanted to play on Sunday. Yes, it was amazing for him to say goodbye to the fans and clap us off at the end, but generally speaking, that game was one he probably's, in another world where we had a stronger squad, would not have been anywhere near it. The same as Joe Linton wasn't. I know Joe Linton obviously came out of the team for the Leicester game very, very late on, because obviously he wasn't 100% right. But Bruno would have liked to have been on that list. He probably would have liked to have already been on his holidays. So that was a huge insight for me into where it needs to be strengthened. We'll talk about that on other videos. Alan Saint-Maximin. Now, on the bus down to this game, a lot of the talk between me and the lads was about Alan Saint-Maximin's cryptic post again. He's done another one. He's done another one about people believing in him. I don't like footballers in the way Saint-Maximin does, posting constantly like he does. Just get on with it. He's constantly doing a message that they're always quite cryptic. He likes to keep people guessing. What does he mean by that? Who's that aimed at? What's he talking about? Does that mean he's leaving? Does that mean he's staying? You know, he said things in the past like the best is yet to come. And this was another one, and it had people guessing, does that mean he's leaving? Does this mean that Sunday's his last ever game for Newcastle? And I don't like that. Just do your stuff on the pitch. Maybe I sound like an old fart by saying that. Social media is a place for me. Yes, put photos of you scoring and celebrating and congratulating the lads and talking about all the amazing things you're doing on the pitch. Be selfish with it. Of course, it's your social media. But Alan Saint-Maximin has this habit, unlike any footballer I've ever known. Maybe your Paul Pogba's and stuff kind of falls into that category. Cryptic messages where he knows what he's doing. It's like when, you know, when people post on Facebook saying, checking themselves into the hospital and saying really ill again, or can't believe that's happened, and loads of people have to comment saying DM me, hun. That's what Saint-Maximin keeps doing. And is this to be his last spell at Newcastle, his last game on Sunday? I thought he looked really bright against Chelsea. Obviously he had a contribution in setting up Gordon. He didn't get the assist, but he got the run and the pass before the assist. And he did. He looked bright in that first half. We weren't really at the races in the second half. Chelsea dominated us a little bit more in the second 45 minutes. But generally speaking, he was good. And we've seen in flashes this season where Saint-Maximin can get to. For me, I don't know whether if you look at his injury records, if you look at how many amazing performances we've seen, I'm still not sure. One lad on the bus made a very good point on Sunday that Alan Saint-Maximin could be really good in the Champions League. And I see what he means. Teams who play a slow way, like Italian teams, German teams, Spanish teams, you could see Saint-Maximin motivating himself more for Europe's biggest stage and really turning it on and being a great option. I'd be surprised if Maximin wants to leave now that the team he's been at has reached the Champions League and is going places. But whether Eddie Howe sees Saint-Maximin, you know, bearing in mind this transfer window, yes, we'll have a shit ton of money to spend, but we'll only be able to spend a certain amount before we have to look at getting money from selling. If someone came in for 30, 40 million, which I'd be a little bit surprised if any team's willing to pay that for Maximin at the moment. He's only had a very short spell of good form in the past 2 or 3 months. Would Eddie Howe think about selling him? Maybe. But I would probably like to see him maybe stay one more season. But if it meant getting in that amount of money to add to a larger spend in this transfer window, I'm not sure. Because look how many games he misses through injury. Look how many games we are talking about him as a player going missing in matches. And I know he can do things that no one else can. But I'm still not 100% sure. Now, as I make this video, he's put a photo on his Instagram story of him in the gym in his full Newcastle kit on the treadmill, saying day one. So that would suggest he's staying. The cryptic message that he put on the other day would suggest otherwise. You just don't know. And I do think he loves all this. He loves us talking about whether he's staying or whether he's not, because he gets all the comments on his socials saying, "Oh, Maximin, we love you, Maximin." I'm not sure. I'd be curious to get what your thoughts on Saint-Maximin, if anyone did see that cryptic message as well. Lots of teams now, and lots of pundits, lots of journalists are going to be writing us off, and they already have started it. So the season's done. We're going into next season. We've got more games coming up because of the Champions League. We've got more fixtures. We don't have that bigger squad. It's going to be different challenges, playing on Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. Then you've got the FA Cup. Then you've got the Carabao Cup. People are already writing us off. And I laugh. I really, really do. And what I would say to anyone already getting worried about going into next season is you don't have any reason to write this Newcastle team off. Why would you go against Eddie Howe, who has gone from relegation, threatened Newcastle sitting in 19th in the table at Champions League in a year and a half? I'm not writing this team off at all. I think with Dan Ashworth at the wheel in the background in the transfer market, I'm expecting us to have another very, very smart and astute transfer market with players coming in. The right sort of players, the players that are only going to complement this team but also have the right attitude like Eddie Howe insists on. And yes, there's going to be challenges along the way. Yes, I don't expect us to necessarily get out of the Champions League group, but don't forget, we can fall into the Europa League from the Champions League. So we can play in 2 European competitions in one season, and how fucking amazing would that be? But none of us care. We want to enjoy every moment of this ride that we're about to embark on. Get on the flight, get over there, and you know, what classes as a failure next season? I mean, this is all very much stuff I'll be talking about on future videos, but the people who are writing us off, I think it's more because they want us to do badly. And we've seen it so much, the Saudi Arabia comments, the jealousy. I think that all ties in together. You know, the big six and then the teams below that maybe wish they'd been taken over in the way we have. They all want to see us fail. And that's why the first comment to be made after the season's ended from a lot of quarters is they're not going to maintain that next season. Champions League's not going to be qualified for again. It's on radio stations, it's in newspapers. I just don't have any reason at all to write off this fucking amazing football club, ownership, team, management, you name it. Final thing I just want to say is the final scenes at the end of that game were absolutely amazing. It was one of the best away days I've ever been on, and the fact that we just stayed in the stadium for so long singing that amazing chant, running down and going, it was, I mean, it's still stuck in there, as you can probably tell. It's still stuck. It was amazing, and to see Eddie Howe running forward and whacking his fists out, you don't see that sort of emotion for him. That was, for me, was an accumulation of this amazing season Eddie Howe's been on, because he will be surprised at how well we've done, and he will be excited, but he's a very composed man, and that's one of the things I love about him, and he just let loose in that moment. And then we got Mad Dog Tyndall doing it, and then we got Botman doing it, and it's just been an amazing season, and those scenes at the end, and that away end at the end, absolutely capped it off. It's been an amazing season on a personal level for me, especially with this new job that I've managed to get through, this crazy page that I set up in lockdown, just to have a bit of banter with people, and it's just boomed, and it's going to continue to boom, I'd like to hope, because I'm going to keep churning out content. And yes, Newcastle fans, I'm not going to make a huge sing and dance about it like some bloody people on the internet have. I am going to America. I've worked in America for 4 years. I've got lots of friends over there. I've got lots of pubs where the supporters groups meet that I've been lucky enough to visit and mingle with, and I've already sent messages out to go back and meet them again. I've got American friends, as some of you guys know, who've offered to take me under the wing and take me out for beers in the States, and I cannot wait to get over there. To watch my team play in what I class as my second home in the United States is going to be amazing, and of course there'll be content to come with that. Enjoy myself first, content second, and that's what I'll always try and stick to. Newcastle fans, if you've liked this last word video and you're probably wondering why I'm not talking more about the season as a whole, do not worry. There's going to be videos coming. I want to talk about goals of the season, player of the season, moment of the season, Champions League, Joe Linton getting his Brazilian call-up. There's so much I'm trying to put together it all gets a bit much when I run this page across all socials. So don't worry, that's all coming up. So you don't want to miss any of them videos, because yes, the football season might be over, but my God, is there always something to talk about with Newcastle United. So whack that like, whack that subscribe. Please do that now, and I'll see you on the next video, because I'm going to go and finish my beer in the hope that in about 2 months' time, we'll be drinking a couple of these in sunny Madrid. Running down the wing, Gordon makes the Geordie sing, Gordon, we're all going to Madrid. See you on the next one, Toon fans. How are the lads?